Hello, good evening, happy Friday, and happy New Year's Eve. Um, no party here, just quiet streaming, spinning. There is no such thing as New Year's Eve music, unless you're dancing, right? And I could have done that. There is a dance channel, I'm sure, but we're just doing some smooth jazz and quiet at that. So, how is everybody's weekend coming up? In other words, Friday today is your week's end, right? And I hope you all had a great time this week. Maybe it was a little pause between your routine, right? Because we've got bookends, right? Christmas at one end and New Year's at the other. Somehow, it does not feel like New Year's Eve to me. I don't know what feels like New Year's Eve to me, really. I mean, we go out sometimes and stay at a hotel and do their party. Every couple of years we'll do that. We've been spending a lot of money on other things, traveling and that sort of thing. So we decided to keep it quiet this year. But I mean, that doesn't really have anything to do with what feels like a New Year's Eve. This would be the second one I've had since I've stopped working, and it was always every other New Year's Eve I would work. So I would get home at 10:30, sit down, unwind and watch as much TV as I could, and try to stay up till midnight. Usually didn't make it. The only reason I'm streaming late tonight, I mean, this is my normal time, so it worked out really good. The reason I'm happy I'm streaming late tonight is at least it's going to keep me awake for a couple hours more before I have to fight the, am I really going to stay up till midnight or not? We do have neighbors that like to shoot off fireworks. It's very possible that they will. They do on the 4th of July. And I noticed pop-up tents all over the place that were selling fireworks. So it has become a thing as far as New Year's Eve. And this is probably I remember one other very, very warm New Year's Eve. My daughter wasn't even married yet. So that would have been 15 years ago maybe. And we went outside. We had a bonfire. We celebrated outside. We didn't shoot off any fireworks, but the whole point was she came over and we had our New Year's Eve outside. Last year, we had our Christmas outside, but it wasn't actually Christmas Day. It was a couple days after. And it was colder. I mean, we were glad to have the fire. A bonfire tonight would just be something fun and pretty to see and all that. Celebratory, right? Because it is still warm. We have a storm coming. I believe it's going to go mostly south of us. I'm watching it though, because it is up to 3 inches of rain tomorrow and slamming of a cold front immediately after that on Saturday evening, right? So there is always that. I am so sorry. I am froggy tonight. There is always that danger of extreme weather at those boundaries of this warm front that's traveling away and this cold front that's pushing it. And that's what's going to happen. We have the potential of snow on Monday. So we'll see. Since I am streaming, I am halfway through. This is day 6 of day 12 of the 12 days of Christmas. And maybe I'll be able to say it by the time I'm done with the 12 days. Anyway, we're halfway through. And so I'll be able to give you a weather report every day for a while yet. I am going to spin on the Roberta tonight. I've been spinning on the Nano the last couple streams, and I thought that I would switch over, do a different spinning wheel still electric. I have not gotten my Aura looked at. I need to take it apart and have a little bit of the mechanism looked at, and I am concerned about doing that. But I don't really know of anybody to take it to, right? And other than maybe my daughter. And my husband feels pretty certain that he understands its complexity of how it goes together. It is that big bottom wheel that has, from the footman, a bearing rotating piece that he says is not, he thinks is not seating right on the inside, where you have to undo some screws and get to the other end. You can see the outside end, but the inside he thinks is hitting, and it has been making a noise for quite a while when I was spinning, and it's become cantankerous. As far as it used to be a dream as far as setting whatever I wanted to, as far as pull in and spinning and all that. So it needs some looking at, and I'm sticking with my electrics right now. So I'm going to spin on the Roberta. I'm going to spin a Merino Angora blend. It's 75% Merino. It was Merino top. It's now roving because I took that top, made a drum carded bat, put a ratio by weight of 75% Merino and 25% Angora. Each of those had been dyed with the same dye. I call it Midnight Blue. I cannot remember what actual dye I used. It was either Country Classics or Porcelain. Okay, one of those. It was an acid dye. It was one of those two. And they came out really, really similar. So you don't get a whole bunch of variation in color. It's very dark blue, and it might look black on the camera. But it is a gorgeous blend. I did it quite a few years ago. I put some of it in the fiber exchange for the people that I sent fiber to, and now I'm going to spin up the rest of it and have it for myself. It'll be for myself. All right, let's see here. I have everything all ready, and guess what? I'm finally spinning a fiber that matches my pants. So no little bits of fluff are going to be showing because it's the same color. It's just going to be on there. Now, having said about the bad weather, it's not here yet, but over the today, next couple days, whatever, I have to change my subtitle there. Let me fix that. If I disappear during the stream, I will decide whether I'm coming back or not, and it really does depend on if my internet drops. I'm not going to come back without internet, right? It just depends what caused it, or if I'm concerned about the weather or whatever. If I have made the decision myself, I'll let you know. If I just disappear, don't worry. It'll work itself out, and I probably will just not stream until the next day, tomorrow. Let's see, I am spinning Merino Angora blend, roving actually. It's roving because I put it on the drum carder and blended the two together, and then dizzed it, right? Pulled it through a diz to make the roving. Center that up a little bit. I was working on the closed captioning, and I kind of had things moved around. All right, there we go. So yeah, looks very blue there. Looks very blue. And ironically, this is black, so they look pretty similar, don't they? Okay. I need to do is fold this up. There we go. So it's out of the way of getting this orifice hook. And whenever I start spinning, a lot of times I have to make adjustments because the last thing I was doing on here was plying, and I always use more pulling when I ply. So let's undo, loosen that a little bit. Let's see if that's enough. Also, I need to give it a little oil. There. And there. Hopefully a drop went in because I couldn't see it. Okay, let's see how this does. I've pre-drafted a little bit here. Probably is a little too fast. I have 2.5 ounces to put on each bobbin. A total of, actually it's a little under 5 ounces, so when I measured it out and split it today, you know, I was going by a half amount of, it's probably around 2.4 ounces for each. And I'm going to do a 2-ply, of course. Not that, I don't know, it's not that I can't make anything else, I just like 2-ply yarn. This is not perfect because you know the drum carder, it's got some neps, it's got from the Angora, it's got little thicker spots that I can't draft out from the Merino, so it's not going to be a real smooth yarn. However, I am going to spin it worsted, which means I am doing a short drafting zone and really smoothing it out real smooth before it goes into the bobbin. Fair amount of twist because of the Angora. I mean, because of the Angora some, but mostly because the Merino really needs a lot of twist to stay twisted. It has seemed like an incredibly long day today. I'm not particularly tired because I wasn't busy physically active. I did an awful lot here in this room at this chair on the computer. So, you know, it was that kind of day. What's it look like on there? Can't see it very well. There it is. Looking pretty good. This is not dyed with indigo. If it had been dyed with indigo, it'd be my fingers be blue already. But the acid dyes don't do that. They'll rinse out good. So I made a very hard decision this morning and I canceled my Audible account. I have been a member of Audible since 2011. You know, that's a lot of money. I mean, I was working, it doesn't matter. That's, I don't smoke, right? You know what I'm saying. I choose how I spend my discretionary income, and I choose to spend it on Audible books. And I have loved it. Oh, so many years. Sometimes even hubby will get in on listening to one if we're traveling or whatever. But for the most part, I tend to just listen to them myself. So I have a huge Audible library, and I have quite a few that I have yet to listen to. And I have been thinking about it for a while, and they have this 90-day pause button. But I had to cut the ties. You know, it's kind of like breaking up with a boyfriend, right? Sometimes you just gotta cut all ties. You can't say, oh, okay, you're not my boyfriend anymore, but I'm still going to see you in 3 months. No. I had to go ahead and say goodbye. I didn't have to. I decided to. One of the reasons is because I am currently paying for a Stars monthly. We don't get Stars on our Dish package. And I've been watching Outlander on Stars. And I don't want to get rid of that. And it's pretty pricey. So, anyway, I have decided that I would cut the ties with that. Of course, they asked for a reason why. And, I was thinking about, okay, just what exactly are you trying to say to them? It's not that I don't like you. It's not that I don't love Audible books. It's not that I could spend the money on it if I, choose to. It was, I have a lot to listen to. 3 months is not enough time to take care of that. And I have been, over the last year, getting Audible books free from my library with my library card. So, those are free. Now they have a limited time. I don't own them, but still, it's a good deal. So, I thought it was just finally time. But it was a big decision. Like I said, it's like breaking up with a boyfriend, right? I've not listened to any Audible or any books on tape lately. And the one thing that made it hard, okay, Audible has upped their availability of things beyond just getting a book. And they have made some authors available as long as you pay. You get, they have what they call premium. And they have podcasts. So, they have included a lot more content. Well, it doesn't matter that they've included the content. I'm still not listening to the enough to be worth the cost, right? So, but it's too bad. It's a good deal. I mean, it's a good way to get digital content to listen to and to own if you want to own it. So I have plenty to listen to. My problem is I don't usually listen while I'm knitting or spinning. Part of that is I'm in the same room with hubby and he's got the TV on. And even though I can put headphones on, it don't work for me. I can't block that sound out. Hi, HD. Audible sounds like it's not you, it's me. Yeah, exactly. Yep. I can always go back to it too. You know, let's see how this goes. But it was making the decision that was the hard part. New Year's Eve seemed like a good time to make it. Fresh start. I have Amazon Prime. That is just pretty much a given. I'll pay for that every year. And I also had been paying for Kindle Unlimited. So that was the second thing I canceled today. And that's just because I don't read digital books like I read regular books, and I have a house full of regular books that I want to read. So it just didn't make sense to pay for the Kindle Unlimited. They kept giving me really good deals, but the good deals finally went away about 3 or 4 months ago. And after a while after I became aware of that, then I was like, oh, I better fix this. Yeah, I mean, I am so amazed what the library. Now it depends. I'm sure it depends where you are, and what library you have and all that. But I don't live in a big county, right? I live in a small county, and I was amazed at their building. They've built 3 new libraries, and they built one not too far from me, which doesn't matter for the digital, but it's nice, if I actually want to physically go to the library. And I was just really kind of stunned how much they do offer. I haven't run out of stuff that I have on my wish list yet, to digital books. Now, I don't watch movies. I do that with Amazon Prime on the Fire because we buy the Prime anyway. So I have access to videos on that. So that's where I watch different than what outside of TV, outside of our dish. Well, that's going to spin really nice. Isn't that pretty? It's got a little bit of shine. Hi, Kate. How are you tonight? Happy New Year's Eve, everybody. Welcome to the most laid-back New Year's Eve party you'll ever go to. It's all about being laid back here. There are people, though, that evidently really celebrate or something, because I had to go in to my nearby town and pick up a prescription. I get it at the Kroger's, and fortunately, I wasn't planning to get any groceries. So I thought I'd go through the drive-thru. No, drive-thru's closed. I had to go in. And the pharmacy's on the far end of the store, and I started driving down the lanes, driving looking for a parking place, and I tell you what, every single parking place was taken. I mean, it was packed. I thought, good grief, what are all these people doing at 3 o'clock in the afternoon? For a New Year's Eve. Well, then it dawned on me. See, I've been retired just long enough to forget that they've probably been working. They probably just got off work. They got to go get their goodies for tonight. Whether they're having it at their home or they're going to somebody's home, they're supposed to bring something. I never even thought about that. But then I went to the pharmacy after finding a place to park about 2 stores away. And there were 8 people in the line for the pharmacy. It's like, good grief. So, somebody's partying tonight. Just not me. Best party. Thank you, Kay. You're making some hot chocolate and settling in with knitting or spinning? Haven't decided yet. Okay. Well, obviously, I've decided to spin. I finished my hat. I should have brought it and show you. I guess I'll try and do that tomorrow. This would be the 5th one that I made. And I love it. I'm very, very happy with it. That one was for me. I'm not going to make any more now. So I got out a pair of socks that I have one done, and I'm working on the second one. And boy, did that feel good. Felt good to be knitting socks again. So I sat for about an hour and a half last night before I went to bed and did some knitting, and I'm going to knit after I get done streaming, see if I can keep myself awake for the new year. There's a chunk of Angora I just pulled out of the blend there. Too bad. But hubby didn't go with me. I told him, I won't be long. I'll be back real shortly. It's like an hour and a half later. It's like, what'd you do? Run away? No, I didn't run away. Gosh, that was a mess. I'm glad I didn't have to get groceries. I did that Wednesday. Got groceries on Wednesday. You have snow forecasted. Work was nuts, was it? Yeah. I was real glad that I was impressed with the pharmacy. They had 2 registers open, and they were working through that line at a decent rate, so that was good. It just took me forever to park and to walk to and from the car. We have snow in the longer term, like maybe Monday. So, I can't imagine that's what people were buying for today, but maybe. Hubby and I didn't cook tonight. We're cleaning out leftovers from Christmas. Some was in the freezer, some was in the fridge. I'm getting rid of it today. So we've had quite a mishmash meal. All right. I'm sitting sideways here. There we go. If you all have looked at my bed behind me or on over here, over the last couple streams. It has been piled high with fiber. I got that all taken care of today. And all I have on there really is my basket of the bobbins and oh, somebody's already celebrating. They're shooting guns. That basket has bobbins and hand cards and hand combs. That is my clean start for the new year. I will say I have been enjoying this little spinning time every day. I can never make it stick. I'm really good about sticking with it for Tour de Fleece, maybe another event. Let's see. I can't think of any others right now. There used to be one in October, but that went away. Some people are doing it, but I didn't do it. So anyway, I have been enjoying this. This is my own little event, the 12 Days of Christmas. Oh, this has so many neps. It's from the Angora. Angora never really gets processed. I'm talking as a now from my experience as a breeder. Okay, when I had up to 30 rabbits when I was at the peak of raising them, and they would get groomed, which was usually done with brush or the dog comb if it was tangled, but they would get groomed probably every month, and they would molt their coat, and there was no controlling that. I mean, it just happened when when it happened. And then you would have females who were pregnant, and you put hay in the cage, and they'd build a nest and pull all their hair out and line their nest, which is, I mean, that's perfectly expected, right? That's what they're supposed to do. That's how they do in the wild, right? The bunnies do in the wild. So, you had Angora rabbits in various hair conditions, hairdos or whatever. It was a constant thing. There was cage cleaning, there was food and water, and there was during the winter making sure that the water didn't freeze. So there was all sorts of things to do, but one of the biggest thing was keeping them groomed. Well, in the process of doing that, you get a lot of Angora, and you don't want to throw it away, but it is not like your perfect coat of wool that you get when you shear a sheep. It's bits and pieces. The whole thing is just a whole bunch of bits and pieces. So that was my Angora inventory. Then every now and then I knew the animal was ready to get close to molting, and instead of letting them molt, you could pluck them. And this was something that people who saw it says that's cruel. That's not good. But the point is, the hair was coming loose at the root anyway. I didn't have to pull hard. It just came out in my hand. And that was always, you never knew when that was going to be, and you would, judge it and get the rabbit out to groom it, comb it, whatever, and all this hair's coming out. And that's when you would pluck them. And of course, a lot of times it was because of the heat coming on. So anyway, when I had a rabbit that could be plucked, and these were mostly, I'm talking about the French. My satin rabbits were a little different, but the French rabbits, when they were ready to be plucked, they had nice long staple, and I'd put the rabbit on my lap, and I'd have a table right beside me, and there'd be tissue paper right there, and I would take that little bit of fingerful of fiber that came off the rabbit and lay it down with the ends going the same way, just like you do locks of a wool, and I'd fill up that tissue paper, and then that would be the prime. That's the prime. And then after I'd wrap that all up, and I would get a Ziploc bag, and I would clean the rabbit up of things that were maybe a little dirty, a little shorter, that sort of thing, or anything I cut that I clipped. Now, a lot of Angora breeders don't do that. They just automatically cut the rabbit's fur. And they do it especially on the Germans. So, it just kind of depends on the breed. And my satins that were a lot shorter, the fiber was a lot shorter, they could mat in a heartbeat. So a lot of times I had to really watch the rabbits, keep them combed as they were growing, but a lot of times I had to cut everything. And so my satin fiber, I would always separate that out too. I didn't put any of this together. And everything that I sold was graded. It's either prime or it was seconds. Well, there is a lot of my Angora supply I won't sell. I just use it, and that's why I'm saying that this has neps and things in it, because it wasn't prime Angora. I sold that. But I said that it wasn't very processed, and here's the second reason. So that prime that went into the tissue paper got sold that way. You don't wash it. You really should not wash Angora. It takes forever to dry. It can mat and felt together. It's just a mess to wash Angora. So you just make sure the animal is clean as you can get. But that's why so many people have trouble spinning Angora. They say, "Oh, I'm allergic to Angora." Yeah, that's because the animal's dander is on there, because it doesn't get washed. And even though washing it might fix it, I still can't recommend ever washing Angora until after it is spun, and then you can give it a really good bath. You can just let it soak in water, a little bit of soap or whatever. Don't agitate, don't do nothing, just let it soak for a long time. And you'll lose that bunny smell, and it'll come out all nice and fluffy and clean, and it'll be wonderful. So that's your 1, 2, 3 ABC of Angora fiber. I hope I can fit all of the, I may not be able to fit all the not quite 2.5 ounces on a bobbin. Well, I've done 1/4 of it. Oh, I probably can. I say that all the time. It's never a problem. bottle of champagne for tonight is what they gave us on the cruise ship. Instead of opening it on the cruise ship this year, we just brought it on home. We'll have that. I'm not that fond of champagne. I mean, this is pretty good. It's not bad. It's not a name you would know. Since the cruise ship tends to stock things not from the United States, right? From other places. But it's pretty good. I've had it before. So if I'm a senior citizen and I get senior citizen specials at 3 p.m., right, instead of your 5 or 6 o'clock dinner, does that mean I get my champagne at 9 or 10 o'clock? Makes sense to me. Those are little balls. Now we got 2 big balls here. Each are an ounce. Well, not quite an ounce. Kay says, I didn't know that any of that about Angora, but I'm going to keep that in mind if I get a chance to use it. I'm refusing to acknowledge I wasn't having a sneezing fit until I started on this bat. Not bothering with champagne tonight. I work tomorrow morning, so I'm not staying up anyway. Oh, okay. So, Your bat supposedly has Angora in it, then. Is that what you're saying? Huh. So that's very, very common. And you know, it's not even necessarily that it could be a quote unquote commercial Angora raised in China or whatever. It's very likely you're reacting to the I don't want to say dust. What am I trying to say? You know, the natural. I cannot think of the word I want. I used it when I was talking about it. I can't think of it right now. But yeah, it can be in Angora. Boy, this didn't feel well. That's a messy. I will say, if I was ever, gonna react to Angora, I would have over the years, because we used to joke. I processed it in the drum carter, 100%. We used to joke about having Angora fiber in our coffee cup because it just floats everywhere. Dander. That was the word I was trying to think of. It often will come with a dander. Nancy scrap bats. Wow. Huh. Yeah. Well, there could be even like cotton bits or fibers that float out of it, not just necessarily Angora. I have done that. Had it bother me when I was pre-drafting like this or whatever, because it released. It was usually wool, because that's what I work with the most, but I'm not real fond of scrap bats. I don't know. I guess it does make kind of really interesting yarn. When I have odds and ends, cleaning out the drum carder after carding something or whatever, I have been collecting those and saving those to use in wet felding. Like, a picture where I lay out on a table a plastic tablecloth and just start wet felding these different colors and everything together into a design and a picture that you would hang, or a banner or something like that. So I need to do that. It's a summer project, so I might put that on my list for this summer, because I have 2 big bags full now that I have saved, and it's all different colors. Hi, all crafty. Happy New Year's Eve, almost New Year's. Is it the new year for you? I think you're probably close to us. Not yet, yeah, that's what I thought. Case that I was pre-drafting before the sneezing kicked in. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Something flew out of there. But the reason I say, it was everywhere in the house is Angora can be so staticky and it would just float. It just float on the air. Felt like it was everywhere. I am spinning 100% Angora right here, right now. This whole thing is all Angora. It did not get... There's a part of this between the, doing the drum carding bat and pulling off the... through a diz and then separating these out before I spun. I just did a whole chunk of 100% Angora. Trying to finish socks before the new year. What's the deadline? Well, good luck. Good luck. It's good to have a challenge, right? Just have to do a Kitchener stitch and weave in the ends on a scrappy sock. Well, shoot, you have time to go get a drink. You have time. That's good. You're going to make your goal. Everything I did today, I thought about that. Oh, that was a good thing to do on the last day of the year. I don't know why. What's the big deal with that? But it was. Everything I did today, I thought about that. It was so beautiful today. It wasn't sunny. It was warm. It was overcast. And every once in a while it would sprinkle a few sprinkles, and that was it. But I went out and I sat on the porch, which, honestly, I haven't done since before Thanksgiving. Between the holidays and leaving for the cruise and everything. So I went out and I took the very last bit of walnut shell-dyed Rambouillet that needed picked open, and I picked it open. And I sat on the porch doing that, and it was like summer. Not quite summer, but I didn't have a jacket on. I had long sleeves on. Well, I had a sweatshirt on. I just couldn't believe it. So anyway, that Rambouillet is, that's Bullwinkle. That's that I've talked about a lot. And it is all picked open and ready for the big combs. I am going to comb it and get the best that I can with the combs, and then what's left over, there'll be a lot of comb waste. I will drum card, and I'm going to do a thick, quick, long draw with the bats, so that I have some just to make a warm hat or some warm slippers, or because it's pretty soft. I think it's going to be next to skin soft. I can't tell if I really will get enough to make... You would think after buying a whole fleece I would be able to make a sweater. But I can't tell that I'm actually going to get a sweater's worth. I don't know. But I love the brown, so if I could get a vest, I think I'd love having a vest to wear with blue jeans. That's where I'm going to go as far as patterns looking. looking forward to working upstairs in my room over the next 2 months. I got hubby finally is finishing up the bookcase he built for me. Um, he has to paint it, so he's priming it. I don't think he got it done today, but he's going to prime it first and then paint it with. It's a dark green color. It's not like a piece of wooded furniture, right? It's just pretty good, sturdy press board for the sides and back, and then solid for the shelves. But anyway, I'm real excited because in order for him to build that up there, as opposed to building it down here and trying to cart it upstairs, he built it up there, and he had to make space. So that whole corner of that room is basically packed up in boxes and pushed to the opposite corner, which takes up really half of that room. It just, because it just, the way it's just pushed up against the wall and everything, it's almost impossible to do anything up there. So the very first thing, of course, will be unpacking all those boxes. It'll be like moving in, but I am looking forward to having some time up there this year. And two things: I want to get some good organization, inventory of the hand spun that I have. I am not going to worry about the commercial yarn that I have. I'll use that as I finally come across it, but hand spun is I want to work with. And I think I have 3 more fleeces up there that are washed but need processing. So I'm looking forward to getting it kind of thinned out a little bit. Because one of the problems was I was not able to go up there for so many years, and now I can. So it really is kind of an archive of a number of years ago. I would get stuff during the time I couldn't go up there and take care of it, but I have stuff that has been stored for a number of years. So I need to work through that, process it, see how it survived. I like that room in the winter because heat rises and it's always so warm. Since we have central air now, it's not bad in the summer either, but it was always really my favorite spot in the wintertime. I guess I shouldn't really be pulling these nips out. I like that one though. There. Oh, it's past my bedtime. It's not really. Not really. I just, oh man. I made myself sleep in today. Got up at 5, but went back to bed. And, then got up at 6. Got a cup of coffee and took it back to bed. And I stayed in bed until 7:30, quarter of 8. Just because I knew I'd be up tonight. I wonder what would happen if I do this whole thing instead of splitting it. Because what I'm ending up with is just great big old long stretches of Angora that strip off away from the merino when I break them down into strips. So let me try it this way. Let me see what happens if I do it this way. Usually I don't have it pre-drafted enough when I try to work from this thick of a roving. So, all crafty, do you have to get your book out to do the Kitchener stitch? I always have to get the book out, and finally, one year, I found a Kitchener dog tag. It looks just like a dog tag that, on a chain, and I bought a couple of them and gave them to my knitting friends. And I use that. It's in my little accessory bag, and I use that. You never remember how to do it either. It's getting started. You have to get it started the right way. And then I also get, if I don't pay real close attention, I get off, and you end up with a leftover stitch at the end or something like that. It just, for some reason, it is not intuitive. Even though I know what you're doing is making it like you would knit. Why not just knit it off then? Instead of using a needle. Doesn't It's really not the same thing, but I know. I always have to look it up. Well, that went pretty good without stripping it apart, so I'll just keep doing that. I'm still pre-drafting it, but just from the big section. Yeah, I'm starting to get like, whew, I think there's fiber in my face. Oh man, I am zenning myself to sleep here. Just real zenned out. This spinning is just like. It's not really putting me to sleep, it's just really relaxing me. I suppose not to reminisce about what's the best fiber memory for this year. I really have two, and it involved, both of them involved trips. I got to take two good fiber trips. One was a day thing where I went to the alpaca shearing, and the other, of course, was SAF. The biggest project I did was the sweater spin for Turtle Fleece. Oh, I'm going to sneeze. Hang on, there'll be more. I think I have Angora up my nose. So I've lost my immunity to it. I always sneeze 3 or 4 times. That one backfired. There we go. All right, cleared the pipes. Thank you, All Crafty. I think it's the Angora. Let's see. I'm reminiscing about my favorite project. My favorite spinning. What would that have been? Quite honestly, I think it's been that acrylic, just because I had never spun it before, and I was very impressed with how it's spun in the yarn I'm getting. Sorry, maybe you didn't hear that. I had it up on my forehead there. The most surprising fiber to spin this year was the acrylic, which I've just been recently doing. It's hard to think back on the year without my notebook in front of me. You just learned to spin this year, all crafty. There you go. That's a fantastic memory for 2021. Yeah, I know. I cannot remember anything. I write everything down. But it's hit and miss too. I mean, I'm real good through the winter. I get sparser through the summer. Tour de Fleece comes along, I keep really good in the middle of the summer. And then the holidays hit, I get it through October, and then after that, I hardly have anything written down. It's just the way it goes. Well, I am not going to get all 2.5 ounces done. I'm going to have a little less than an ounce left. Probably work on that tomorrow. I'm going to finish these two pieces up though before I go away. Oh, that didn't work. I wanted to pull a slub and I pulled the ribbon apart. All right. I am still here. Boy, I tell you what. I have zoned into a zen here. You've heard spinning is relaxing. Depends what you're spinning. I have had many projects where I was not in a zone. It was fighting me the whole way, so. Cases, I'll craft you. Remind me I have socks to finish. There you go. getting to the point. I have so many handmade socks. I need a better storage system. It don't work in just a drawer. It doesn't work very well. They're bulkier. Probably I need a dedicated drawer, right? I don't really have the right size. I try to sort of alternate some summer, some winter, based mostly on how heavy they are. Probably means I should be gifting more socks, but I am not one to gift socks. They take a lot of time and aren't cheap to give away. That's right. I have a pretty good memory on which ones I can put in the wash and which ones I've got to hand wash, but I don't trust other people doing their laundry. They'd ruin them right away. I really need, as I age, I can't remember stuff very well. And I need to start using something in the heels, like, a stripe or two of red for hand wash and a stripe or two of green for machine wash, right? Because it's getting harder for me to remember one way or another. Okay, in case you haven't figured out, I'm stopping on that. My hands have had enough. And since I'm going to be back tomorrow, you can't get away from me. I'm going to be back tomorrow. I'm going to stream tomorrow about 5 o'clock. I figure that gives everybody enough time to be up and awake, right? After all their partying. Now, I'm going to stream from 5 to 7 tomorrow night. So, I will see you then. Everybody, Kay, Allcrafty, HG, thank you for hanging out tonight. It was really nice to have you here. I hope you have a really quiet and peaceful easing into the new year. And when it comes time at midnight, give yourself a pat on the back. We did it! We're going to do another one. So, Happy New Year, everybody, and happy spinning. I'll see you all. What did you say, Kay? I was able to, it took me longer to find the yarn needle than it did to finish them up. I know that. Oh, all right. You all take care. Good night.